Howdy guys, Kirk and Jason here with Kirk Giordano Plastering. What we're going to show you guys today is something somewhat unusual. We are actually looking into a mirror. I thought it was kind of cute. Anyhow, we're in Pacifica, and it's been raining all night. It just kind of slowed down with the rain. Anyhow, these folks emailed me this issue they're having with the skylight. And I was telling them, I was asking a bunch of questions. I thought, guys, I'm on the other side of the bay. Let me ask you some questions and make my life easier so that way I don't have to drive all the way over there and make a couple trips. First thing I said is, how long have you had the house? And they said they had the house about 6 years. I said, how long has the leaking been occurring? They said about 1.5 years, 2. Usually if it's been occurring for, say, 10 years, you could have a lot of wood rot. In fact, they still could, I don't know. And usually if it's on the basement level or say the shower area, I ask folks, gee, do you guys have a lot of ants all over the place? And if they say, we got a lot of ants, that's usually a real bad sign. That means that the wood has been saturated for years, and ants aren't attracted to wet wood, say. They're attracted to bugs like termite, and they eat the dead bugs. So anyway, they said they don't have any ants, and plus they're up on a 3rd story, I believe. It does get a lot of rains out here. But one thing I noticed, now I've been here an hour, Jason and I covering this stuff. One thing I noticed that was kind of unusual is I was looking at this window, and you got to use your hand to push it up and use your hand to lower it. And I thought, man, I raised it up about that height. I thought, you know, the average skylight opens about 8 inches, and it has usually 2 bars that go up here. And so I thought, I'm looking at the window and I thought, what's up with this window? And I come to the conclusion that these windows actually should go vertical on a house, so they're not made for this. So then my next question is, because I'm a bit of a flashings expert myself because of all the stucco we do, I put the ladder here and I looked outside, and as my boy Spock would say, fascinating. What they have here is, on the outside they have their roof-to-wall step flashing, and then they counter that flashing, then they counter the counter flashing. Then they also put membranes everywhere, and what happened is some of the membranes failed, which would allow the water in here. But whoever did this, man, my hat's off to him. I thought, how clever, but it's probably a 10, 12-year fix all the time. Anyhow, getting back to what we're going to do here is, I'm going to drop this window down just a little bit. Now, I've seen this many, many times, buckling like this. You see how loose that sucker is. Now what I'm hoping is it's just over the wood. And how do I know that? Because 25 years ago I did the same thing. And plus I've seen about 5 jobs in the last 20 years where usually it's guys with beam ceilings. They'll have a bunch of beams, and the stucco is coming off all of the beams. And I'll say, I know what they did. They didn't put wallboard or sheetrock, plasterboard, whatever you want to call it. We call it just sheetrock, and it basically, you put the sheetrock over the wood, and then you put your plaster, because plaster will not adhere, or taping mud, to wood for very long, especially if the heat is hitting it. Here, I guess they have 5 years, so the heat is hitting this beam right here, and it expands the beam, and then it pops the stucco off. So that's the best case scenario. That's what we're hoping for. And when I told them, go ahead and remove that piece that's loose and call me back and tell me what you have under there, they said, well, what if there's a bunch of ants? And I thought, man, I knew I shouldn't have said that. Anyhow, we're here. We're going to go ahead and take this off. And what I'm going to do here, guys, is, let's see, take a trowel and just score this. I'm going to take my razor, score this right here, and look at it. In best case scenario, it's just a piece of wood here. It's a simple fix. Worst case is if a whole bunch of ants come out or there's a lot of wood rot. Then we'll have to come back because I'll have to find a carpenter to fix all the rot. Anyhow, this is what I told them to do, is grab it, especially if it's loose. Score it, you can. Score it like so. And pull it off and see what the heck we got here. Now, I don't want to make a big mess, and I don't want to inhale all this. Well, that's not a bad sign, guys. In fact, that's what I was hoping for. Okay, I've seen that before where folks have done this, and about 24, 25 years ago I did something similar. So what they did is they put plaster directly over the wood. Now that wood looks in great condition. It poured rain down all night, and it's kind of drizzling a little bit now. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take it up to here, and possibly remove this side too. That one looks iffy. So anyway, when we get to that stage, we'll show you the next thing, because I'm going to go ahead and score this, meaning take it off there, and hopefully they did a nice job and did it well when they corrected the exterior. So we'll go ahead and remove this, and I'm going to tell the folks here, gee whiz, we can put a little sheetrock over that way it won't happen again, but got to have that leak corrected. Anyhow, so we're going to go ahead and remove all this, and we'll show you when we get to the next stage. Okay guys, we are at a stage where Jason actually pulled all this stuff out and cut me some pieces of sheetrock. Here we already put one piece in here. This stuff here is nasty smelling stuff, wood preservative. Say if you got termite, wood rot, wood fungus. I seen they had just a hair here. This side didn't have any, but this is the side that was in question. So it had just a touch of moisture here, so I put some of this Greens Clear stuff on here, that copper green. It's there, and this side looks good, but I hit it anyway. And of course, as you do exploration, you always come across some stuff that you didn't encounter. One of the things I didn't encounter is that we cut a piece of sheetrock for this, but now we notice that the latch, which opens and closes it, won't open or close if we put the sheetrock there. Perhaps that's why that fella didn't do that. And I thought, oh man, that means these won't turn. But fortunately, Jay went ahead and cut this, and yeah, he cuts these out better than I do. So what I'm going to do is slide this guy in here, just like so. And as you can, let me see if that's set. Now this window will open and close even with that in there. So we're fine right there. As far as this guy goes, what I'm going to do here is, the next thing we're going to do is plaster weld. This stuff here, we're going to put some of this pink plaster weld here, and that will adhere the mud that I'm going to put. No, I'm not going to use tapered mud. Tapered mud takes way too long for me. We have a 5-minute mud. They have 5, 10, they actually have 5, 20, 40, 60, 90. So we're going to mix up a quick mud, and after we get this plaster weld on here, I'm going to put it on here too, so this will look pink the next time we come. Then I'm going to put fiber mesh tape over this, which is right here. I had a lot to do for this little stuff. Right on top of here, and I can't guarantee this guy, but I can't put sheetrock over it either. So we do the best we can with what we got. It's always improvising when you come to this kind of stuff. Anyhow, when we get to the stage of mud next, we'll show you how we put that on too. All right, guys, we are at the stage now where everything has a bonding agent. Jay makes me up some hot mud. We went with 20-minute stuff because we're pretty high up. By the time he gets here, if we use 5, it could be set. So now what I'm going to do is the fun part. Just going to plaster this up. And this part doesn't usually take too long. And because you see the finish they have is a heavy texture, so it makes my job pretty easy, guys. Heavy texture. I don't even have to be neat about it. The hard textures are smooth finish, because if it's smooth, then I may have went with a different type of material. But that's the kind of finish they have right there. So by the time I'm done spreading all of this, you'll be able to see the texture. I'm going to hit it like that, and here again where I don't have the luxury of putting sheetrock, we do the best we can, because as we do things, and I've learned that the hard way, doing exterior windows, these windows have got to open, so this, I can't go no deeper than that right there. Anyhow, you see how we do the finish coat. Nothing to this part. This is the easy part for us. Just take it, and we're just knocking that mesh down here. I try not to drop any mud, because if I drop it, then I'm going to track it everywhere. I don't want to do that. It makes Jay's job and my own much harder. So anyway, you see where we're going with this, and what I'm going to do is just finish this little piece right here for you folks. Do my 2 coats. I'm actually putting some underneath here too, because this is such an easy texture to tie into. And right here where I butted the sheetrock, I put a little bit of bonding agent. And I'm just going to put my texture right there. Feather it right in there. Easy peasy. Okay, so I'm going to set the ladder up and get this high stuff. And just like that, we do it. Now because this mud is 20 minutes, by the time I'm done going here, I will probably have just enough time to put my second coat, which I'll match this finish here, and we're out of here. Okay guys, what I'm doing now is I'm just putting the texture on. And good thing Jay mixed me up some 20-minute mud. I told him 5, but this is already setting up. He says, man, we got a long ways to come up these stairs, Dad. So we're already hard. This is taking me about 5 minutes to do. But after you get this, you can see how hard this is. And this is why I choose to use plasters other than tape and muds. Tape and muds take a long time to set, and I don't usually have that kind of time. So now I take a little cheap brush. These are like $1, $2 brushes. It beats the more expensive big brushes because now what I'm doing is because this is set right here, I'm just cutting in all my corners, making them a little bit prettier, making them smoother. I'll take this side right here, take the wet brush, and just pretty it up. Anywhere where I have a holiday, I fill it. Say like these corners, we brush them, a lot of water. This, I brush this, a lot of water. Smooth it out a little bit. Come in here, and of course I made sure that this latch works properly here and that this one doesn't hit. Last thing I do is I just hit all my corners. Just like that. It makes them a little strong, and it gives them a better appearance so that they don't look pretty nasty. Anyhow, guys, my name is Kirk. I'm with Kirk Giordano Plastering. We thank you folks for watching, and as usual, see you guys on the next one.